Hey there, this is Therese Skelly, and I am so excited that you are going to be listening to an episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. Do you like those two words? Fiercely Brilliant. My hypothesis is that you are here for a reason. We all are. Our souls have led us on journeys that have very often taken some twists and turns, and sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes there's struggle and there's loss and there's challenge, and in the middle of that, there's always a way out. And it's those times that often lead us into our great life and work. So you're going to hear stories in these episodes of myself and other beautiful people that share the journey. They share how they got to the place where they're standing, working in their brilliance, and being the powerful leaders that they are. So stay tuned and enjoy this episode. Hey, this is Therese Skelly, and it's another episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. This is a little bit different one today. Occasionally, I do these things called Transform with Therese, where I invite my friends and colleagues on, and I coach them. Because what I know is what we deal with, we're all connected, right? So I have Beth here today, and she's starting like a new arm of her business. And so the place she's in is like, how do I price that, right? Because she's been working with women for years. But sometimes when we up level and we start new things, there's a little bit of like uncertainty. And so I love vulnerable women, real women that are rock stars and are willing to like show the process. So Beth Nelson, thank you so much for showing up today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I'm always thrilled to be with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we do have this. We have this. Like we were at a networking thing for days. And we literally always end up sitting next to each other, and we always have the same clothing on, and we're the same size. And I'm like,
yeah,
can I just like consign in your closet? Like we have the same color palette, the same vibe. So I'm always excited. Like, what are you wearing? I make her like send pictures of what she's wearing when we talk. So a sweet connection. All right. So Beth, why don't you tell us who you work with, what you love about it, and what you do?
So who I work with are ambitious, creative, passionate women who have gotten to the point where they feel like the demands on their lives, they can't keep up with them, and and they don't know how to fix it, or they feel like they need to be fixed. So what I teach them is how to have an unstoppable source of energy from within them, not only in their career, but in their health, in their physical body, and in their relationships, and all throughout their lives.
My gosh.
And what I love about what I do is it's been my journey.
Right. I was going to say, let's talk about you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had, worked in a very high stress job for probably about 15 years, did a stint in corporate America, and did some work also in the educational realm. And I would always bump against this pattern of I would push myself so hard that I would completely burn out, disconnect from all of the sensations of my body, and then completely break down and go into that, oh my gosh, I blew it way of thinking. And so what I love about what I do is that it encompasses all the parts of me. I have a very ambitious, very competitive side.
Yeah.
And I have a deep respect and understanding of the spiritual aspects that guide the universe and guide my life. So it's pulling both of those together and helping others to see that we have an infinite source of energy within us.
Ooh. You know, if you're listening and you're aware, this was me. I was like aware that in order to get to that next level, I could not do it with the same amount of energy. I was dragging, right? And I didn't want to just burn out, kill the adrenals, caffeinate. I didn't want to have external things. And so I literally would be the target market. Today I'm fine, but I remember saying that I can't take my business to the next level with this level of energy. Yeah. So what shifted? Because you were working with midlife women before, right?
Yes.
That was kind of your thing. So how did you wake up one day and say, different market, different thing? Because probably the same market, but like a different solution to that. What happened?
I think what happened is that I realized that I was only bringing a part of myself to that business. that I would really pull back from the more ambitious and the more competitive and, driven part of me. And I was all about nurturing others.
Right. Got a balance there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a little bit out of balance. And once I realized how much power I have behind my, commitment to health and commitment to well-being and to really driving myself and how that can help me to help others. That's when the shift came.
You're a high performance athlete, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Now, does a woman have to be a high performance athlete to join you? Or like who is the typical woman that would be the absolute perfect client?
No, a woman does not have to be a high performance athlete. Okay. Ideally, she would have the attributes. Sometimes it's called being a corporate athlete.
Okay.
In other words, driven in a way and knows how to tap into the peak performance techniques. And when I speak of peak performance techniques, it's about, when you think about if you've ever trained for anything, athletically or even lifting weights, you take yourself beyond your limit, push yourself just beyond your limit, and then rest and recover and use what you've gained from that stepping out to bring you to the next level. So it's a woman who understands what it is and recalls what it is to feel that drive and that success. It could be from many, successful executives, women executives were former athletes because that was,
it's built in.
Yeah. That's sort of built in. It could have shown up in academics, in how she performed in school or in her work or as a ballerina or as a leader. Yeah. So not necessarily, but understands those attributes of what it is to take yourself beyond the limit and go through the roughness that brings up.
All right. So if you're listening, I don't want you to say, "Oh, I can't do it. I wasn't an athlete." Like if you calls, that's what I wanted to clarify. Yeah. Okay. So here's the process that I work with. So if somebody comes on here and says, "I want to do a Transform with Therese episode," I give them a little assessment, and it's just like five portions. And the portion that I, and then what I do is, this is on a scale of 0 to 10, and Beth is rocking a lot of it. Like, the first one is, are you aligned with your message and connected to the divine in your soul? And Beth's like all 10s. She's off the chart and all this. She's off the chart in the support. Like she's got all the stuff. And the place that I, because there was a couple different categories. So what I do is I pick up my pendulum, because I'm like a business intuitive. So I can just literally tune in and say, this is the one that needs to be worked. So this isn't from head knowledge. This is just tapping into Beth's energy and the highest and best. And the highest and best for Beth, the question basically says, I own my value and I price my programs or services well. And Beth got it. She was 7 out of 10. That's not terrible. Like sometimes people are 2s or 3s or 4s, and it's because it's brand new. And so very often when you like, you could be a 10 at your when you're working with midlife women, but now because this is a newer thing. So FYI, the reason I do these programs that Transform with Therese is for teachable moments, right? While I'm working with Beth, I'm also working with you. I want you to have like, oh yeah, no wonder I'm feeling a little goofy. Like I used to be really confident until I changed gears. Okay, that's normal, right? So you will see how I work with Beth. We're gonna work with how I help people understand the value, because there's a couple reasons why. So one is either you haven't had enough experience in the market with this particular program or package, or you know what I mean? So some of it is it's just new. I mean, Beth had years of experience with the working and the women and the high performance, but putting it together, that's like, yeah. Right? So yes. It's either just a practical thing, you just haven't, you don't have 200 hours of experience in this way. And so sometimes pricing and value kind of have to make up. That's one possibility. The other possibility is sometimes we have unconscious blocks to really owning our value. We have stuff in the way, we come from the So, we've got to be nice women. We can't charge that, especially if you're in the transformative space or the spiritual space. Beth was a yoga teacher, so she's got that as well in her, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes we might discover, is it just lack of experience or time with this new market, or is there something else holding you back, right? Mm-hmm. So you ready to play?
I'm ready to play.
Okay, so the way I start, and again, you can do this at home. You can do it at home. So just follow what I do, or have me do it with you. But so Beth, I want you to imagine that, and so we're going to start with just the features of the program. So you're going to say, for these women, I offer this, and it includes boom, 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 boom. And it could be, 12 weeks and you get 6 modules. So just kind of like what that is, and then give me the price point. Okay. And I'm going to ask some questions after that.
Okay. So I have a group program. Mm-hmm. It's 5 weeks of once a week content that is pre-recorded. And then they have access to me throughout the week. And it is a 5-week intensive that takes them through a process so that they really understand how to master their energy. Mm-hmm. Is that enough information?
And what's the price?
Oh, the price point is $999.
Okay. All right. So here's how I kind of play with this. I've taught this. I usually teach this piece when I was teaching my Fearless and Soulful Sales, because if you don't undervalue, you can't sell anything. So if I would be in a group, I'd say, okay, guys, you just heard that. Give me 5 weeks and I'll show you how to master your energy. Now it's $999. Is anybody jumping at raising their hands? And I'm set you up, because the answer is supposed to. They're supposed to go, huh? Right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to go into, so that's what most people do. Most people create a program and they assign a price, and then they roll it out, and they don't understand, either it's not enough, it's not addressing the right thing. Now, I didn't ask her about the benefits, right? You're hearing, marketing benefits, features.
Right.
I just wanted, what are the features? Okay. Now let's dive into the benefits. So the questions that I'm going to first start with, Beth, is, mm-hmm. So do you have bring to mind an ideal client? Do you have a kind of the avatar, or the woman that would be, oh my God, most perfect for this?
Yes.
And we can give her a real or a fake name.
Let's call her Allie.
Allie. Okay. So we've already identified that Allie is highly driven, high performer, and her energy is not. So what I want you to do is I want you to list off pain points for Allie. And when you guys do this, it's like there's the top of the mind, and then there's the, oh yeah, if you probe a little bit, there's like the deeper ones, right? So just give me some of the pain points.
That she's always on,
mm-hmm.
always at the whim of, her email, her text, can't make plans because she can be in the middle of a yoga class and her beeper will go off. I mean, beeper, I'm dating myself.
Yeah. Whatever the electronic leash is going
yes,
up.
Yeah. And it throws her out of her game. She gets emotionally worked up every time this happens, but doesn't know how to avoid it happening. And there's this underlying sense of, if I don't keep on this track, if I don't say yes and continue to sacrifice what I love in order to keep mm-hmm. this power, then I'm going to be overlooked, mm-hmm. and I'm going to lose it all. All of my power is going to go away. I'm going to fail at my job, fail as a mother. So it becomes so connected to who she is as a person, rather than a job that she has.
Whew. Okay. So those are fabulous pain points. Yeah. And we're not going to stay with the pain points, but I want you guys to, when you do this, because unfortunately, many people identify a lot with, God, I don't want this. There's what you don't want, no longer desired experience, and what you're moving towards and want to have more of. And we're going to get that in a moment. Okay. Yeah. So another thing with marketing, it's okay. She's always on, always in her email, which means, and you could even deepen that. But I think you did such an amazing job, because you got right into the mindset of like this woman's a hostage. She's a freaking hostage to her.
It's like you're a hostage to high performance. You're a high performing hostage. Does that?
Yeah, I'm gonna steal that one.
Write that one down. There's some messaging magic. Okay, high performing hostage. See, the more visceral, because if you just say, oh, you need to manage your energy, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so that's why when you guys create messaging, you want to tell stories. You want to have, and she did a great job of like, she can't not say yes. She's afraid she's going to lose it. She's afraid all her work is going to be like, you felt that. That was a visceral, like I could like, oh God, that poor woman. She is a hostage. That's where the word came. Like she's a hostage to her high performing lifestyle. And the fear is just killing her. And then we could go even farther. And what does that mean? So like you could say, what's happening with her health, with her relationships, with her state of mind, with her ability to parent? Do you want to take like one more minute and go there?
Sure. So in her health, she is so disconnected to the needs of her body, from the needs of her body, that, symptoms go unchecked, and get worse and worse. And there's probably a high reliance on caffeine.
Of course.
In the morning, wine in the afternoon or evening, some way to numb out from, because it's just too painful to feel it. And this, of course, affects relationships because, she can't be present. She's not really in her body, and she's all of her energy is in her head. And instead of dropping into the body and picking up on the signals around. What other areas did you say? You said relationships.
Well, relationships, health, it could be peace of mind, I said, but there's kind of tied in. Okay. I just want to acknowledge Beth has an amazing handle on this, right? Like, are you feeling how well she knows this? I wonder if this has been you at any point, my love.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. We usually are, hint, hint, very often we are our target markets, right? That's how we know this stuff. We're like, holy hell. Yeah. I don't want to live through this, and I'm going to help people not. Okay. Yeah. So when you guys do this at home, I want you to take the pain point, and we're not going to bang people. We're not going to beat them over the head with all their pain and all their suffering. And I'll show you how I do it. It's a magnificent way for you to understand, like, whoa, because I have to sell Beth on Beth, because Beth probably has this unconscious competence thing. Because when you've overcome and you have mastery, you're like, well, it's so easy, no big deal. It's like, blah, 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 right?
Yep.
And so I have to go, only 1,000. Like, what? Like, so that's generally my agenda. When I do these, I'm like, and you'll see how it goes. Okay. So with her health, there's great potential for cascading, like, longer term problems. Is she aware of that? Or is she trying to really hard? I get like hamster wheel, like, I'll deal with it later. I'll get that breast exam later. I'll deal with the cholesterol later. Like, she's just kind of, right. Just so focused on the performance.
Yes. And more than likely, she's not getting the same results because more than likely she's
diminishing
in her 40s, at least, to reach the level in her career where she is. And it used to be that she could, stay up until 1 or 2 in the morning and get up and be fine the next day. And now it's becoming harder and harder to keep all of these things running at the same time. So, it becomes more reliant on, okay, well, I'm not going to take care of my health, but I'm going to get Botox so I look rested. Or I'm going to,
so she's making more money investments and more things to try to prop her up and fix her. And
yes. Okay. Yeah. So that's part of the mindset thing too. It's like, I've got to retain that sense that I'm valuable here and do it in whatever means is necessary.
Right. Yeah. I just want to, again, as you're listening, listen to how clear Beth is. Like, can you totally get your hands around? Because a lot of people come like, I don't know, she's in her 40s and she's a little stressed. Okay, well, what does that mean? She doesn't sleep. Okay, what does that mean? I didn't have to do all that with Beth because it's like, you feel it. It's not, I always say, make the tangible and intangible. And the tangible could be, you're spending more money on wine, and you're spending money on clothing and Botox and all, the intangible is you realize you're sucking as a parent and a partner because you just aren't present, and you secretly hate that, but you feel trapped anyway. That's an intangible, right? Beth's got a wonderful handle. Okay, now let's flip it. Imagine that Allie gets to work with you. So Allie comes in and she's just, again, she's a hostage to her high performance. Her life is now kind of in shackles because it's almost the blessing is the curse, because you can be a high driver. It's killing you to be a high driver, right? Because you're out of balance with it now.
Right.
So imagine because I've got my little magical wand. Allie works with you. Give me some benefits. What happens as a result of working with you?
There is the first really most tangible thing is when these triggers, to call, lack of a better term, come in, like it maybe the boss is saying, well, no, I need this by tomorrow morning, or, there's a demand on her life that she wasn't expecting. Instead of spinning out on that emotionally, she has the tools to bring herself back in and look at it from a different perspective in a way that says, this doesn't, what's most important to me is my health.
Okay, hold on. Frame it like, so that, right?
Okay.
So she doesn't spin, which means what's the deliverable at the end? What does she get? If I'm not spinning and I have a new relationship with triggers.
She's calmer.
Okay.
Confident, centered, uses these experiences of trigger to teach her lessons. Yeah.
And when Allie is calm, confident, centered, what's the rest of her life looking like? What's the collateral out picturing of that? How does that change things?
She's putting herself first, setting boundaries around her time and how it is spent. She's more present and open to relationships and the beauty and what she can get from them. There's less of a sense of urgency, less of a reliance on, or less of almost an addiction to time.
We're going the opposite. What's the
opposite of addiction to time is more spaciousness. Yeah.
So this is what the desire is. And Beth has a really good handle. You notice it's harder sometimes. It's very easy. And just notice that, right? Because Beth's people are like, probably most of the people that you're going to work with are in the moving away from. I can't stand that I'm not making enough money. I can't stand this extra weight. I can't stand that this relationship I'm in sucks. I have to get out. And these women are on fire. They're like on fire. They're coming in a place of acute pain, difficulty. And so the dance here with messaging is you don't want to just go, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you tired of because that's going to attract the broken babies to you, the people that are only in the chaos.
Yes.
But are you sick and tired of being a hostage to your high performing because you secretly know that you're supposed to, boom. What's their secret desire? What's the thing that's like, oh my God, yes, I do this so that I could get that. What's the thing that these women, and you were it, what was why did you work your ass off? Why did you do all those things? Why do you perform? What is it that you're looking for?
It's a level of mastery and ownership of
that word.
Yeah. Ownership of my power. And driven women are motivated by that.
Okay. Do you notice how the conversation is going a different place? And I just gauge myself as I'm like the barometer, and I'm like, have just freaking goosebumps. I need a blanket because I'm like, Okay. Now I'm just gonna riff. I'm just gonna talk. So I'm gonna basically do messaging for Beth here in a second. But I want you to see, you can pound the pain all day, and you really need. Beth's not going to write a sales letter with 20 to 30 pain points, but she's just going to have an understanding of it because everybody's different. And then when she's talking to somebody, she'll say, hey, do you ever get like really triggered at the gym and the phone goes off and you suddenly can't even work out? And they'll be like, yes. Okay. So when Beth is having conversations or in her copy or she literally could do, these are the top ways, these are the top 10 reasons, you're a hostage to your high performing.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
So you have beautiful content because people need to go, oh shit, I didn't know. Isn't this normal? But everybody, no, it's not normal. No, because Beth, you need to basically say, this is where you are. And there's another way. Because you didn't sign up. You don't do all this shit for handcuffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then we want to amplify, okay, what is the desire? And what she said initially is, you don't get tripped in with triggers. You're more calm, comfortable, centered. But do high performing women really want to be calm, confident, and centered?
No, they want
to be powerful.
Get shit done.
You see, but see how when we started, Beth was kind of like, yeah. But it's in this questioning process because as an athlete, you're not like, well, I thought I would like kind of zen through that finish line. That you love the fire in you. You love the part of you that is driven and fierce, but it's killing you. The way you have been doing it is killing you. So imagine, okay, well, let's try. Let me just see what I can put together. So imagine you're Allie, okay? And you remember the price point she said in the beginning. Okay, so Allie, I'm just going to pretend I'm selling Allie right now. Okay, so I'm Beth selling Allie. Let me take a drink of water because I'm on fire here. Hold on. It's getting hot around here, girls. Okay. So Allie, when we've just had our conversation and I really want to acknowledge you because I love the part in you that is really driven. And I know you have had a history of getting a lot of stuff done, but I also hear there's kind of a cost to it. You talked about you're always on, like you can't even disconnect from your email or your work or your productivity. And sad for me that I heard that it's affecting your kids and your family. So I'm hearing that there's a cost. And what I know is also possible, and you talked a little bit about this, is like you're not sustaining it. You're not 20s anymore, and at 40 and 50 or whatever, it's harder to have the same stamina. And we've talked about how maybe lots of times people on this trajectory, health falls apart because there's a lot of wine and a lot of caffeine and a lot of things. So like what used to come easily, now there's having to be more maintenance. And so the cost of that, I can feel it in you, the exhaustion and it's almost like you're handcuffed to your high performing ways. And Allie would be like, oh, shit, yes. Oh my God. Okay. But imagine if I have a 5-week program and what I do is I teach high performing, highly driven, highly competitive, highly successful women how to use their energy in a way so that not only they are being high performers, but they have access to all their power, all that driven part of them that wants to get shit done and wants to keep achieving without the handcuffs. So I know you probably can't even imagine a different way of doing it because you've never seen it and everybody in your world is, but what would it be like if you had access to the same drive that you love, that is you, and it wasn't frying you, and it didn't take up so much time and like cost you so much of your life? Imagine if we could get you so pure in it and so in good energy management. What would that be like?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a 5-week program, and you have lots of access to me, lots of access to information, and it's only $2,500.
Sign me up.
Okay. Now, the reason I got $2,500 is, and you don't have to, I would do a beta at 1,000.
Yeah.
So that's reasonable. But, are these people making 7 figures? Are they making 6 figures? Because $1,000 to get the handcuffs off. And so what I would have you do, Beth, and this is the final piece before we wrap up, what's the long-term value? Let's say I work with you, and I'm sorry, I forgot to ask, is there an upsell? Is this 5-week kind of an intro to then do work with you?
Yes, then it would be an intro to do one-on-one work with me.
Okay, that's where, so and we didn't talk about that. So you could do a lower level, but you need to price the higher, like the private work. This is gold. So imagine, again, let me get my fairy wand out. Boom. They've worked with you for 6 months. What's possible?
Oh my gosh. Unstoppable energy, drive, connection to their legacy, knowing what they want, and having everything in place so that they can do it without burning out.
Not worth, hold on. Let me just check at my pendulum, okay? Because I'm hearing numbers in my head. So hold on. Okay, 6 months. I'm just making up. Did you have a 6-month program in mind, or was it shorter? What was
it was a 3-month.
Okay. Yeah, 3 months. Okay, it says 3 months. Okay, hold on one second. 6,000.
That's what I had it priced at.
Wow. Okay. Now here's how you own it. Here's how you really own it. And you could say, so imagine that you and I are talking in a year. So you and I have, you, Allie, you've done the work, because all the things you just said about the lifetime value. How much more is that 6,000 going to be worth? What will what would the benefit of that 6,000? Like if you're a business owner, you could say you could 10x that easily, probably 20 or 30x that. If they're in corporate, they don't have the same, but what would be the value of, if you invest only, and you say only $6,000 to get rid of the handcuffs, so you could be even more powerful and more in your brilliance. Tell me about the worth. What would that be worth to you?
Yeah, I mean, the place that I go to is, it's priceless to have health back. Perfect.
So, because some people, and I love that you got 6,000, because some people will be like, oh, I can't. It's like, if you look at it only, it's like it's a speck. People spend $6,000 on copay trying to get their health back. They spend $6,000 on all the shit they're trying to do to feel better and feel good. And if you could give something $6,000, it would be sustainable.
Yeah.
So do you see how, gang, how did we communicate, right? We started with all the pain points. And I particularly love Beth started with like, this was the deliverable. And I'm like, no, bullshit. That wasn't.
Yeah. I like that too.
That was better. So do you feel like, how is this for you? I've had a great experience. This
my
really
gosh.
Fun, but how is this for you?
No, this was really good for me. And what I'm getting the most out of it is, these women are driven. Talk to that driven side, not to the, oh, well, you'll be calmer. And,
they don't want calm.
They don't want calm. Mm-hmm. That was a big aha for me.
But you talked about the two parts of you. She's a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
And she's a high performer. Right. And so in one of the things I do, the work I love to do is this is messaging work, right? Like which part is going to appeal? Like when you're working with midlife women who maybe have raging hormones and they want to be calm. Yeah. I want to be calm and confident. But when you have high drive, high performers, like, no, I don't care. I want to go. I want to go. I want to get more energy so I can go more. Right. And so that distinction alone will allow you to sell this and own your value and just do the great work in the world.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Boom. Thank you.
Mic drop.
And if you're listening to this or watching this and you're interested in, messaging, reach out. If you identify as a highly driven, high performer woman and you're like, oh my God, she is totally telling my story, message Beth, and we'll have all her contact information in the show notes, so you'll get to find her as well. This was fabulous. Thank you so much, and peace and blessings. Bye now.
Hey, this is Therese, and I'm so excited that you were with us today for another episode of the Fiercely Brilliant podcast. If you are inspired to get to that brilliant place, if you heard some wisdom today that made you think, yeah, I need some help in that area, I would encourage you to have a conversation with me. Super simple. You just go to thereseskelly.com/let's connect. It's a no charge, no pressure conversation. And if I can support you to clear the blocks, to really step into that brilliance, oh my gosh, it would be a delight. And I'll be honest with you, we'll just have a great conversation and see where we can take it. Peace and blessings. Bye.